I think I can speak for everyone in this room when I say it's an honor to be in the presence of the person who made that movie. How does it feel for you to watch it 20 years later?
Exactly 20 years. This is the 20th year anniversary of this movie, and 25th year for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Watching this movie, you see, once I made a movie, I just something just got out of my system. I don't want to watch them. Also, as I'm getting older, I don't want to feel like Norma Desmond, the character in Sunset Boulevard. I kept watching her old movie and say, "This new Hollywood trash. We got face. We don't need to talk." Anyway, but lately I feel like it. Especially, I want to thank you for putting on this retrospective. One side of me very appreciate that. I was flattered. The other side of me, I felt I'm not done yet. What are you doing?
You better not be done yet.
But I would say this movie making gets so much harder now because it's a film. So I watched it a few times. I feel like crying. It's a very cryable movie because I don't think they let you make this kind of movie anymore, just to me.
I don't
take the leisure
so
pace for 20 minutes, nothing happens. They just quietly fall in love, and they don't know why they fall in love, and they spend 20 years chasing back to that feeling and never got it. Like, it's so whimsical. That's Brokeback Mountain to me. I think it's very hard. It may make me feel nostalgic, and the sensation of films and the focus of nothing happened, which I can feel all of you breathe together. To me, that's movie sensation. It's beautiful. It makes me want to cry. So thank you for putting up this event. It's very special to me.
It's to me as well. It's pure cinema, and you really do build it up. You know, we get to watch them fall in love. That's so special, and I think you're right that Hollywood has regressed a little bit. You know, and the fact that
you had to tell a story.
Yeah,
this is a time when Hollywood is not that sophisticated yet. They haven't found out exactly, completely how to choke you. And you have focus feature like James are here. He's writing it. He's on both sides of the table. He's producing it. Let me backtrack to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Halfway shooting that most difficult movie, I was telling myself, if I survive this, I'll stop. I had enough of movie makings. My father been warning me not to go to movies. He never liked me make movies. He wanted me to teach. So finally he's right, but I still wanted to make movies. If I can survive this, I feel so ill, so like collapsing. But after that, I say, what do I do? So somebody taught me how to use the acrylic, so I stopped painting. And 7 hours passed, I didn't know. 4 o'clock in the morning, I was still painting. I thought, if I have that energy, I should make another movie. Just around that time, James showed me the short story. It's only 30 pages long, of Brokeback Mountain. And I also had the chance to do The Hulk, the biggest movie, still the biggest movie so far I made. And I chose to do The Hulk, so because I was in the mode to pick on like Chinese Pulp Fiction, American something pulpy, and get into a nation, a culture, a racist kind of subconsciousness. I was into the hidden dragon, so to speak, or Hulk. In Hulk, that's violence in America. So I was into that. I made the biggest movie. I was so exhausted. I was racked. I was ready to retire. Finally, I had enough. And I went to see my father. In Hulk, I finally blow up the father image, and he said he liked it. He saw me really dejected. It was a Chinese New Year. I took my #1 son to see him for Chinese New Year, and I said, "Dad, finally I get it. I retired." He said, "So you're gonna finally teach?" I said, "No." He said, "Look, your son, you're 49. That's good example, not good example for a kid. He said, go ahead, make another movie. It's the first time in our life he said, go ahead, make a movie. So I thought I gotta get him make a movie. I was thinking that, and 2 weeks later, he was healthy and he passed away, and I had to make a movie. This is the easiest movie I made. I was half asleep making this movie. I was so exhausted, emotionally drenched. I didn't have a way to process my grief. So I dedicated to my dad at the end of the credit. It was for him. I got to make a movie. So I told James, if you want me to make that movie, it's only one condition. Leave everybody away from me. Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. So, okay. He said, if you keep in a certain range of budget, do whatever you want, just keep everybody away from you, finding only nice guy to work with you. So, okay, that's the deal. I was kind of half asleep. It never happened to me. I started talking about it because I saw the movie. It's the only movie I made. Half of the day, shooting days, I didn't want to get up and go to work. I was like this. I think I worked just as hard as every movie. It's just that's all the strength I got left. I have no style, no ambition, no nothing. I just want to finish the day. The short story, I don't know why it got to me because I grew up in Taiwan, very opposite of gay cowboys in Wyoming. I have nothing to do with them. But I felt we Chinese cultured filmmakers, we just know there's certain things. I think we know Western really well. People don't know. It's actually quite easy for us because it's all about space. There are things people praise about the movie, which I think is really easy, is probably taking a foreign filmmaker and a woman writer to see the obvious. Of course, they're all gay. There's a nature, there's all the animals, and like, what else? It's very natural. It just struck me as a great love story, an existential love story. I really like the whimsical part of it, the existential part of it. There's a wine line in the short story say, all we got is broke. We could have a life together, but all we got is broke back. That's existential because nobody knows what broke back is. They don't know, but they chase after it for 20 years. So that's, to me, is the best love story. Love, you never get the idea. So I went to the journey. I was making, nobody said it's too slow. And James did say that. In the first cut, I remember, people are smothered, friends and family. And we all have, right after that, we all run to the bathroom. So we're lined up by the urinate, and James said, and that was great. It was 3 hankies and 1, said 3 hankies and 2 bladders. My goal is 4 hankies and 1 bladder. That's all the direction I got, I think, from the pressure from the studio. I think there's so many. Well, I was exhausted. I was processing grief. I barely had the strength to make the movie. But everybody's so good, scarily good. Every actors, and the 4 leading there, Heath was like the oldest is like 25. Jake was like 23. Emma, Michelle, 23, 24. Anne Hathaway is like 21, I think. They're so young and so incredibly good, scary. And all the supporting parts are good, down to the extras, local casting. Everything's good. The costume is good. It's set, everything's just good. I didn't do much. So I'm still standing here, try to make movies. I was convinced there was a movie god. He loves me. That's why he gave me this movie. it's a tragedy, but it's about love. It's so much nurturing. The crew, the whole environment, Canada, we shot in Calgary. It was love, nurturing. And when the movie come out, you feel people are nurtured. I got a little nervous when they hit the movie got successful and it hit the shopping mall. I thought they're gonna lynch me. This is a gay cowboy thing. What do I do? I thought it's a movie nobody sees, like small art house movie, but it's so effective. And so it's an incredible experience I had with this movie. I think it's beyond movie making. It's about cinema. It's a cinema god. It's about emotion. I never see it I see it as a love story, not gay cinema or anything. It's a movie for everybody. I was making the movie in the saddest time and most exhausted period of my life. So it's a bless. Watching it give me good feelings. I'm very confused in today's world, like a lot of anger. But sometimes watching that, it gives me strength. It's nurturing. I think we need that, and I beg the industry and the world give us filmmaker time to make movie, to let the chemistry happen, let the detail have time. That you spend time with the characters you care about. And a lot of movies these days, it was effective at television, I think. Plot, story, like very busy, shocking values. You don't really spend time on nothingness, on just the characters you care about us. I think that's very important. I got carried off.
No, that was, I think we were all wrapped. I mean, it is pure cinema. It's so tender, and yeah, nurturing is an interesting word. You do feel enveloped, embraced by this movie almost. It's amazing that the cast was so young. They're all such adults in this movie, And you're right, each performance is a masterclass. I mean, what was it like working with these actors? Obviously, it's heartbreaking to see Heath Ledger and of course think of all the movies he still had to give us. But man, performance is just so solid. He's like. Yeah. What was it like for you to work with this cast?
But first of all, it's a great pleasure. They think director teach them everything. I would like to think so too, but you have to see what they are. Half of the time is your inspiration, your direction, how you inspire them, give them directions. The other half of the job is how to portray them. See how best camera capture them. They all provide actors that good and still fresh. It breaks your heart. They all come to just begin to get the idea of acting. They're not quite there, just getting it. It's still fresh, still have that virginal innocence to it, but just grasp skills. And surely before they know they're good or looking good. I think that's just beautiful. All of them are like that. So it's a great pleasure working with it. They're all different in their own ways. Heath, for example, he's an intense guy, well prepared. He said he's not preparing, but that's bullshit. He prepared really well. And he's conquering the fist for 2 months. And 5 days after we wrap him, he fly to Italy to do the Don Juan movie, Casanova, I'm sorry. And then in the press, he said, I gotta relax, I gotta do a comedy. I think it's so unfair to that movie. He said, I just need to laugh. It's very intense. In the same time, he fell in love with Michelle, so they're in the pre-production.
That was on this movie that they got together?
Yeah. Under my watch. But I think he's very methodic. And at the time, when I casted him, I wasn't so sure about cast, to be honest, because he always impressed me as a supporting role. I saw one movie, he's a leading man. He hasn't convinced me he's a great lead man yet. So and he needs to carry the movie, so he's a lead man. Jake come here to steal the show, but he has to carry the movie. So that was meant to be tested. And one day, remember that Greyhound bus cafe, the diner scene, when he's eating a sorry-ass apple pie, and the ex-girlfriend coming to give him a hard time. I remember watching the dailies. Linda Carolina is an excellent actress.
fantastic.
She's so well in the scene. Act her heart out, manage the tears and everything. And he's hardly do anything. He was there eating apple. He ate like 32 pieces of apple pie that day. That's all he does. When we show the dailies with the crew, and all the women scream, "Leave the man alone! Leave the man alone!" That's when I know he's the lead man. The man has it. You work for him. And I don't know if by the time he knew that or not, but he's a sensational. So he has a lot of freedom to do what he wants to do because he's already there. It's super strong. He looked like a cowboy, his disposition, everything. He looked gorgeous on horseback and all that. So I work along with that. When I casted him, I want something quite the opposite, which is Jake. So I cannot talk to them with the same way because they're different actors. Jake needs a lot of improv, a lot of talk, a lot of... He's just like, that's the target. He'll make the adjustment. You just tell him little details, technical details. That's all he needs. Jake needs to talk a lot. The girls, I was particularly, I call them girls, the two women. People don't understand this movie is, I was watching, I want to say, I'm very embarrassed to say, it's a good movie. It's really
a great
good.
movie.
I was watching, how did I do that? I didn't do much. The movie's so good. It was so good because the women are so good. It's not just like, oh, it's a gay love story. No, it's not. It's a movie about everybody, down to the little girl. They're all good, supporting role. And the two girls, they still, at the time, they still have to prove their quality actress, serious actresses. Michelle has a TV series. She just came up. Anne came off, Anne Hathaway came off the Princess Diary. She was a princess. It was funny when I interviewed her. And my casting director told me, this next actress coming to read, she will apologize because she's in a costume. She was in a princess costume. She will apologize. This is her lunch break. They're shooting a princess parade scene. The lunch break she came in, it was hilarious. She apologized, like she was dressed like a princess. I said, you're a Texas princess anyway, so that's fine, don't worry. Emma, she's the second actress I met. You just know they're right. And I asked where she is from. She says, oh, Montana, like, spot on. They're extremely smart, good actors, not aware they're in the art film, and not aware of it yet. They still have that innocence in their, in my mind, most beautiful stage in their lives. It's like just budding. It's such a pleasure to just put the camera. I used to have ambition on camera movement because that's when people notice direction. But for this movie, I just made the day, make sure I secure all the performances, including their looks. Because their look is, they're just thinking, like Michelle, when she sees the husband's kissing a man, and in the 60s, women in the countryside, they don't have vocabulary to process what she's experienced. So how do you give her direction for that? And she did it. So she's together with Heath, and then the two guys have a hard time doing the heroic Western kiss when they see, So already they just done that scene. They're tired, so they're just giving her eye line. So they're just messing around and pretending kissing, and she screamed at them, "Come on, guys! I need it!" Guys are rolling their eyes, just kissing again, like for real. And I remember when camera rolled, I saw her on the monitor. It's like, that's not acting. I don't know what hits her, what's in her eyes.
The look is heartbreaking. You could hear people
it's
reacting.
like, yeah, she's struck. You'll believe it. That's the power of cinema. When somebody really feel it, you can sense it. You can sense what's acting, what's real feelings. So there are that kind of actors. I just feel very blessed. That was like how many movies I made? 7, 8, 9 movies, 10 movies. So I was quite experienced. I can give direction if I want to, and any which way. I can work with any styles. But I think the most important thing for director working with actor, with talent, they put their heart and image in your hand, is make sure that you capture their spirit. And that's precious. When the camera rolling, you watch their mental state and their spirit. There's just something there. You want to make sure the light is right, the camera angle is right, the spirit, the breathing, and you have to sync with their feeling. However they feel, you feel it. So when you talk to them, you're together with them. You're acting to, you live that life along with them. I think that's the best direction. It's not how smart a word is. It's like you sync with their feelings, and with the characters' feeling, with the happening of the shooting, with the story, with everything. This, when it clicks, you just know it. And to me, that's the most precious thing. That's why after the movie shooting, the life has passed. It becomes your imagination. Everybody has their feeling. The movie's not mine, so it's out of my system. But the time when I'm working, like in this movie, most of the time, particularly with actors, or when the costume designer, I don't know where she got those little costume. Everything feels so right. You just feel that Western character come to life. Western genre is a fabricated. Everything is fake. It's like the wuxia genre in Chinese. It's fabricated. It's invented. There's no realism in it. So when you do a realistic Western, it's quite tricky. There's hardly any example for you to watch and say, okay, that's how you do realistic Western. But when everything is so right, it's living in that world. It's something special. It's very special to me, and I cannot describe how that life is. That's why filmmakers we keep going back to that same height that we experience. It's like a altered state, and this movie has a lot of moments like that for me.
I mean, I think, the audience, we can feel how in sync you are with the actors and the story. And then when you do move the camera, it's so powerful. Like that scene when you choose to, they're kind of arguing and Jake is facing the camera and you shift and kind of eclipse Heath behind him. That's just so powerful. It punctuates it all the more, the fact that you're so kind of subtle with the camera, and then there's moments you choose to use it hits.
But this movie, I rarely move camera. But I save them for very special moments.
Yeah.
And it has to move in a way people, I hope they don't. It's sometimes an omen, sometimes I have a purpose moving them. I don't move them just for the sake of moving. These days, they move camera a lot, and the studio will ask you, where's camera movement? Because they're afraid people get bored. I think if the emotion and detail is substantial, you don't want to move the camera. So there's a life to it. You don't want to disturb the viewing. If I move something like that, like I described, some moments are happening. Something is happening. I think it needs a little bit of push. It's unusual.
And then your blocking is so beautiful. I mean, to me, that scene again is we see one of the most iconic two shots to me in cinema, where it's or in the following scene where Heath is kind of holding on to Jake and they're almost looking away from each other, and both of their hats are in the frame. I mean, how do you get that kind of sophisticated blocking and framing without getting in the way of these performances? That amazes me.
I think blocking, if you block it right, it makes it easy for actors to perform. I think that's and for audience to perceive the scenes the way you want them. I think blocking is something I think about when I get up in the morning before I go to shooting day. That's all I'm thinking is blocking. Once you do the block out early in the morning, usually in our typical shooting days, we go there, actors go there a little earlier, they do the makeup. Halfway, they come out. That's when everybody had breakfast. We gather together, and I still rehearse, run through the scene one more time. That's blocking, when you have the real set. After blocking, I fashion the shot in my head very quickly. And I tell the AD what's the shots, and everybody go to work. Then I don't have to worry about the whole day. I just tuning stuff. That's our typical working days. So blocking is like almost everything. It's a framing you put for a scene. And I think actors, they have a feeling once you do the blocking, that gives them a hint of where their character is in that situation. They know the chemistry of their relationship in the scene and how things are changed. I think blocking gives them a sense what it is, what to go for. For the frame, it's a structure of a scene. It's a strange thing. I think for professional filmmakers, once you block a scene, everybody seems to know what they should be doing. And usually they perceive your expectation if you block it correct. If you don't, you have a hard time. Like everything goes right, they have fire, they're whining, and actors keep talking. Everybody has their problem. The lighting has problem. So I think that's you're asking a director what directors do. The most important thing to me is I think it's blocking, technically. I'm not giving a film class and everything blocked this scene differently because that's how you interpret the movie.
No, but I mean, part of what makes this such an incredible movie, even though you kind of say it made itself, it didn't. You're a classical filmmaker in that you know where to put the camera, where to put the actors, when to go wide, when to go medium, and somehow that art has been a little bit lost at this level of filmmaking.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I want to make sure we have time for some questions from the audience too. So maybe if you have something, you can throw your hand up. I see someone right in the middle there. I'm not sure if we have an audience mic, so maybe just stand up and project. Yeah. Oh, for the next one, we do have a mic. But the question was, did you see anything you'd want to change about the movie, essentially?
No. There are two things. First, objectively, I think this movie is, I don't know what's wrong with it. Can you tell what you're not happy with? Movie's great. Actually, on the contrary, I thought, what have I done to deserve this movie? This movie seems to be better than me. I was half asleep. Like, how did this land here? It just take a life of its own. No, the movie is better than me, so I wouldn't do anything differently. If I do it differently, I probably would mess up. Maybe do too much for it. I think magically, that's why I say there's a movie god, because if I weren't so, I think people was affected by the emotion, by the humbleness, by the stoicness of the movie. If I have any energy left, I wasn't so exhausted and emotionally drained, I would do more, and I will probably ruin a lot of this movie. I wouldn't let it happen. I think a movie has a life. A filmmaker should respect that life. And you should be in awe that you're even making a movie. I think with awe and respect and gratefulness, you go about your shootings. Of course, we're unhappy. We have to compromise this and that, but that's smaller in compared to a movie wants to see the audience. You're like a channel. You're a vehicle that goes through you, and all the crew that you work with. We all believe. No, I pitched them the idea, but once they believe in, we believe in the same thing. It's very happy. That's why people suffer the post-production blues once the movie is done, because we're so happy. We believe in something. It seems like life has meaning. Once the movie is done, it's like you go back to real life, like chaos. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You have to deal with real issues. But here you deal with a story with pure emotion, with poetries. So I feel, particularly this movie, I feel very blessed. I wouldn't do anything different. Another thing is, I would say every movie, every moment I make movie, I give my best. So I have no regret. There's nothing, even something people say is bad, I disagree with them.
There's no bad Ang Lee movie. I've rewatched them all.
Because I give my
year.
best. I cannot do better. I cannot alter it. That's the best. And you cannot look back and say, I can do better. No, that was the best you can do. At the moment, it's happening. Everybody's there. And for people to look back and say, you could have done this and that, like, bullshit. Oh, sorry. What is it?
Sorry, yeah, you can. I think we had someone up there you were handing the mic to. Is that, or over here? I'll let you decide. I can't really even see whose hand is raised.
Thank you.
I want to say movie making is one thing. It's very hard to describe what that is. But movie viewing, it's something else. As I say, when a movie comes, everybody's movie. They can say it could be better this way, that way, but not for me. Once I done experience, that's everything. As long as I gave everything I have in fighting, even if it's not successful, I don't judge them by how successful or craft it is. That's craft. That's not life. I think that's why I keep making different movies, because if I know how to do certain things, that becomes a craft. That's not my heart. That's not my struggle. That's not fresh. I'll be pretending a virgin. So feel earnesty, and I'm experiencing something for the first time. That's very important. Not everything. At least there's something in movie making that has to be fresh and a challenge and nearly impossible to me. So that once I done that, I don't think that way. It could be this better, but I try something else and go on to the next journey. That's me. Every filmmaker is different.
Hi. Thank you for this great movie, Mr. Lee. What do you think of the parallels that exist between the societal pressures in Brokeback Mountain and today's legal and cultural restrictions on LGBTQ people? And I think the film's editing is fascinating, especially in how it depicts the passage of time. What was the strategy for structuring it and finding the pacing? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
So the first question was about LGBT issues and where we are today. You talked about what a big thing this movie became. And I think the cultural impact was major, you know, that at the time, this was 10 years before the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage in America. And unfortunately, 10 years on the other side, we look like things are going back. But yeah, so I think the first part of the question was about how the culture and how the film lived in and interacted with it.
I wasn't thinking any of that back then. It's just the movie. I say I grew up in Taiwan. Why a Western short story made me cry. And it's lingering, you know, for 3 years I went off to make The Hulk, but I cannot remember that. The movie belongs to me. I should be the one to make it. And I know I want to make existential love story. And the space used in Western haunts me too. Nature, love, space, repression. That's what I do best, is something to do with the repression. So that's all there is. I made Wedding Banquet before, so this is not new to me. Back then, there was more of a break, because I was doing a mainstream Taiwanese movie. It was not allowed. It was never heard of back then. So that I need to go through a mental break. I know I was dealing with the issue, even though for that movie I wasn't thinking gay cinema either. I was thinking a traditional Chinese family drama. That's what I was going after. This is, strictly speaking, is a love story. It's just such a unique love story. The idea of Brokeback Mountain really got me. So there's nothing to do with social issue. Actually, that's the West during that period of time is like an unchanged place in a changing world. The place just like stands still. It really gets to me. So those people, they don't have the right vocabulary, unlike now, we know, to process what they're going through. That's really poignant to me. I'm dramatist at heart, so that really attracts me. When the movie came out, it picked up all the political issues, and I have to answer them. I try to avoid as much as I can. Just talking, just try to get by. I heard people, this movie did a lot for those issues, helped really pushing the issues, but that wasn't my intention in making the movie. I just thought it's a really moving story. It's so human. If that pushes forward things, that's great. If not, I still want to make that movie because it's so poignant. It's biting, and the beauty of that is at the end, you don't know what moves you. I got that feeling too. I couldn't pinpoint and say exactly how that works. It's all the quietness, all the details, all the lives. You know, people bring it on screen. Little by little, it becomes so powerful. You don't know what hits you. So I don't see it as, you know, promoting any issues. You know, it's a love story.
Another question? Oh, sorry. We just so we get everyone in, or as many people in as possible. Down here in the red.
Hi. Congratulations. My name is Pauline, and congratulations on your receiving the DGA's Lifetime Achievement Awards. I'm actually friends of David and Sherry from NYU. Sherry worked for you as a supervisor for the Crouching Tiger. My question is regarding your films. I'm just curious, how much control do you have in when it comes to casting for your films in general?
Can you repeat that?
She was asking about how much control you have in casting in your films.
In casting?
general.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, this is a small movie. I don't need to talk to anybody, just gems at focus.
Okay.
I have an excellent casting director who I work with since the Ice Storm. Her name is Evie Kaufman. Usually she will bring in the choices. I look at the photos, and then she'll show me their scenes. She edited their scenes. Some I've seen before, some I didn't. So I take it from there to narrow down. Then I decide to read them. For Heath, they're already established, even though not too famous back then. Heath Ledger and Jake, because they already are experienced actor. I saw their past works and just interviewed them, talking, just feel them out. Sometimes it takes looking at a real person to have a feeling, just to fashion the role in your head, to see how the movie plays. So just watching other movie doesn't quite do it. So you meet the real person. But other than the two of them, everybody I do interview, I do readings. They act out scenes, then I decide. So very much me and AV. James brought up the names. They still want some names, so there's a talent pool and name actors for the two leads. Once they settle down, and James is my good friend, so I'll let him know who I cast, ask his feedback and all that. It's pretty normal, pretty easy.
Do you get a sense pretty quickly once you're in the room with someone whether they're going to be right for the role?
Huh? Sorry.
Once you're in the room with someone at a reading, do you get a sense pretty quickly that they're whether or not they're the right one?
Most of the time. At certain time, as it's not their reading. Sometimes they send their self-tapes. It's mostly when I give them direction. When I read them, I'll say I want to change here, I want to change there. I give them direction as if in the shooting. That's when I found out how they react to my direction. The chemistry, how I work with them. Usually that's the process where I decide how possible it is. Because as you're testing them, you plan a movie in your head. You start a fashion movie in your head. It's like location scouting. You're watching it, and then gradually the movie just come to life in your head. So casting is a big part of it.
And what about the non-actors or locals? You said there were some of those in this film, right?
They're locals. I still meet them and reading scenes. So AV will have local helps, like near Calgary. If Calgary doesn't have enough, they send actors from Vancouver, or if nothing worked, they send all the way from Toronto and anywhere from Canada. But most of them we got local. We're very lucky.
We have time maybe for one or two more questions. I defer to you. I had too many hands.
They're local, they just look right. They're Westerns.
There's so many spectacular scenes in that movie. It's one of my favorites, and I thank you for it. But there's one image that has always really spoken to me, and it was just while I was watching it tonight that I wondered what you might tell us about it. And it's the one where Ennis is standing up and the fireworks are behind him.
Ennis what? Sorry.
Ennis is, go ahead.
Oh, you got it.
Ennis is standing up and the fireworks are behind him, and it's just a still of him. I'm wondering what you can tell us about that image, why it was included, or what it meant to you, what it's meant to convey, anything like that.
Okay, sorry.
I think this is just after he's picked a fight with those guys at the fireworks.
Oh, the fireworks.
There's a shot of him. It's just him alone, and then in the background, the fireworks. He's asking about that shot specifically.
It was in the script, also in the short story. I think it's a good time. It's a good time to show that and is a very traditional man. He's more Western, more violent, more manly than any other, and sometimes he has the urge to show it. And he's the biggest homophobic person who happens to be, he's a homosexual man. He's the biggest homophobic as well. He has to act out. I think that scene gave so much energy that he has to outdo the guys. There are quite a few scenes you see him being violent. It's a scary fellow sometimes. It's very Western as well. The man has to do their thing, and with the firework in the back, it's pretty visualized, so to speak. Yeah, I love those scenes. That scene in Thanksgiving when they fight with the guy and get beat up. Those are tremendous opportunity for actors to unleash their energy for the actor, unleash the prohibited the repression that I go through. I like those scenes, and I think actors should live for those scenes so that they get to explode. I think it worked out really beautifully. I'm glad the fireworks worked. This is the before we use too much CGI. You don't compose that. They have to hit in the right cue, and the baby has to behave and all that.
There's so much brilliant stuff in the movie about these internalized notions. Of
That's, by the way,
masculinity
that's
and-
poster shot. They mentioned, yeah, they use that as the one sheet
Oh.
poster. Yeah.
Perfect. Just to shake
Actually,
it up.
can I ask one question? Inney? I think the spectacular nature, just seeing them within that, those mountains and the sheep, and I mean, all of that is so enormous. And then them both being small, and then at another time taking up the whole field of space. I wonder if you could say something about that particular, the actual Brokeback space.
The actual Brokeback?
I think
The physical, the mountains, and I mean, the Wyoming space is so spectacular. To place them within that seems like such an incredible message.
About the scenery.
But I think she's just asking generally about placing them in the space and in nature, and how you kind of blend their bodies and physicalities with the landscape.
No, I like location scouting. Some filmmakers don't like it. I like it. That's when the movie started fashioning in my head. For this movie, music is great. James introduced this Argentinian Gustavo composer. He came to interview in my office. He has a little 12-string guitar, the Argentinian guitar, and that night he brought it because that night he had a show, he had a concert at the Carnegie Hall, and I told him my idea, the two songs, something like that. I showed him in the tape, in the CD, and it's just something like this. I said, yeah. And then a week later, he gave me 7 pieces of music that ends up this. I use it as temp, and I listen to it when I do location scouting. Some scouting, I take helicopters. So I'm seeing, before I go out shooting, those are interval elements in making the movie. Landscape is always like a visualization of internal landscape to us. It's emotion. To me, landscape has emotion there. I think God created landscape with emotions, and that's how I see them. So I don't particularly see how do I do this, put that together. It just naturally happened when I scout. Maybe it's the landscape that goes to performance. instead of the other way around. And I shared that tape with all the crews and the lead actors. So everybody's hearing that when we're rehearsing, when we prepare, when I scout, we just hear that music. Somehow we tune into that world. I think it just happened naturally for this movie. Some of the prettiest, actually, they're national park. We're not allowed to bring domestic sheep up there because they might infest the mountain goats. So actually, I didn't get my prettiest shot. But I think that's kind of a bless. I don't go for the prettiness, but I go for the picture is the structure of it that works best for the a structure of a landscape or the framing that fits best with what I need for emotion.
And then maybe we can take one last question. To mix it up, we can go in the back corner, but just stand up and project so we don't have to run the mic all the way over there.
Oh, hi, my name is Alice. My question is, what are other stories or themes that you would like to explore that you haven't had a chance to yet?
What, sorry?
What are stories or themes that you haven't had a chance to explore yet that you would like to?
There are many. And movie making is very difficult. I haven't shot movie in 6 years. That's quite painful. I'm not getting younger. I'm getting lifetime achievement. I'm getting retrospective. So I'm anxious to go about them. I think right now, the theme that has men's relationship with God. I'm not religious, by the way, with faith. Like if your talent, I used to be very humble. I think my talent is okay, but I'm not like too talented. But now I'm thinking, okay, I'm talented. Since you all give me words, too many words. But I think a talent owes the world something. I owe my world to give my all. Just how I feel about the world. And a movie is a thing that I learn about the world, about myself. Just about that. That's just a vehicle for me. That's my media, and people seem to respond to my expression. So when you give everything that's bigger than life and it's bigger than your body physically you can take. So I feel a lot of abuse, exhaustion. I don't know what's still keep me going. I wonder what that force is, the force life. So something in that region still attracts me. I think lately, that's one theme that attracts me is the force driving us, particularly when you're good at something that exhausts you and you wonder what's the force that's driving you there, what life is about, why people respond to that, what is that's effective, what life is about. It's not about practicality. No, there's only so much. Why we need spiritual connection, so to speak, and why somebody has to give that much. You don't know where that comes from. That's almost like religious. So that attracts me. Another is the older I get, Confucius supposedly Confucius say when you're 70, nothing confuses you. Everything's at ease. You cannot do anything wrong. I feel that probably worked 800 years ago. I'm more confused than ever about the world I live in. Things are hard. I wonder how storytelling is, we connect by storytelling, by narrative, by cause and effect. That's how we can live together. We can collaborate. That's how we're different than the other animal. That's why we can consume the world and to its exhaustion. But that's only a small part of our world. We know stories is lie. We know we lie in language. So what is the what's in our whole mind, how we live our life. I think that subject matter attracts me too, which I don't. I started doing that with Pi, which is a project, Life of Pi, which you put on. That's a project for me, is to dig into the meaning, the value of storytelling. So since then, I'm very much into storytelling and why we want to tell stories and how limited that is. And the real world is so much more confusing. So that subject matter attracts me now. The same way Brokeback Mountain attracted me 20 years ago.
You know, you mentioned humility. I think that has its
I
place.
hope I get to make more movies.
I think we hope so too. And, you know, I think that the extraordinary success of this movie was so wonderful to see. You know, I remember as a teenager seeing this movie and then seeing you win the Oscars and, you know, being able to say to my father, look, Asian people do movies. You don't have to be teachers or doctors. I mean, what was that like for you to feel that love and to, you know, it's a pretty big deal to be the first person of color to win an Oscar for Best Directing. What was that moment like for you?
To be honest, I went through so many of this award. There's only once I was happy winning the award.
When was that?
It's this movie first meet the audience and win the Golden Lion at Venice. Everybody just smiled at me. It was like, nice. The movie's nice. There's so much goodwill. Every other time I win an award, I just feel very uptight. I have to. Sometimes with Oscar, you're just sitting there. Sometimes you just hope you don't win, so you don't have to go up there and make speech. It was very uptight, very uncomfortable. I couldn't watch them on television. I get uptight. Any award, but that feels like work. Like shooting movie doesn't feel like work, but that's my social work. And then everybody's so proud of you. You represent so many people. You know, like making movie is always like you're doing bad things. It's for, you know, do what you're not supposed to do. You're being naughty. But when that becomes as an example, encouragement, it becomes a duty. It feels like a burden.
Yeah.
But that's my role. So I'm a nice guy, so I gotta carry torch. I gotta say encouraging word. I cannot be shy. I try my best. But when you see people, like so many young people, I'm sure a lot of you here too, come up to me, like, especially Asians, like, we're not, because of you, I want to thank you. Because of you, my parents allowed me to study film. Okay, watch out. Watch out what you get into. Just stay healthy. Don't waste your energy. You're gonna need that someday. Stay healthy. It's gonna take a lot from you. But you know, I'm not cynical. Sometimes I want to crack jokes, but when you see people happy, I want to make them happy. I'm proud to be part of it. And as a leader of the pack in your group, when your movie wins something, you represent the whole movie. People work so hard. Yeah. They're proud of it. You have to be their leader. You have to be representative. It's a duty. And try to enjoy it. It's hard for me to get attention. By nature, I'm a shy person. But it's all right. I survived. Nothing too bad happened. I keep playing along. It's okay. Sometimes I just hope like nothing. I'm Chinese, I'm conservative. Like if something good happens, something bad, like, you know, it's on the other side.
That's the way to be, right?
Yeah. Like an Asian thing. Anything great happen, you feel uneasy. Like, ooh, I feel insecure. I get that too.
Very familiar.
But it's okay. So far,
Well, we're all very happy to be with you here tonight. And yes, we want to honor you. We want to see the old movies. But maybe by final round of applause, we can let Ang Lee know how much. Oh, wait.
While I'm in Asian society, I just want to say this. I think the film language is very much established by the West. It has a logic of its own. I think it's important the Asian voice and our structure, our expression being feel. I think that's a great contribution to the world. We're not here to take something we think is fair, but I think we have a lot to share, to give. I think that's very important for Asian, not just filmmakers, but cultural workers. I think we need to introduce our language to the world. I think we have so much more to give. I think movie is one vehicle. Like, this is a Western, but at heart, it's very Chinese. It's the Chinese way of seeing negative space. It's not about matter, it's about the space. That's why music has space, long pauses. That's why people have space. I play with space blocking, as you say. I use Western to use that space. That's very Eastern. I think people respond to that, even as a Western movie. I think Asian has a long tradition of beautiful poetic expressions, and we see the world not to put ourselves in front, but we put the space in front. It's an Asian expression. I think we need to do more to the world. I think that can be a beautiful thing.
Well said.
It's a pleasure.